my question would be, because it sounds great on the surface, but I understand that the burn ratio only applies through the global synchronizer. And in the past, on the mainnet, excuse me, and I think it was in January, I saw you put a text out, what if we were to, move this burn to the private subnets? Is there talk of a private synchronizer coming down the chain?
Yeah. So let me explain, and it's a great opportunity because you and I are not having now a fist fight about definition of words, so we can actually talk about this topic.
Okay.
The vision is that Canton is a unified network, meaning everybody's part of Canton. I think that I want to use this opportunity to give the nuance and the explanation why, although I would wish I can tomorrow turn that every subnetwork burns Canton, why that is not a trivial thing to do. We want everyone to put as much as they can on the ledger, as much as they can. We want every transaction, every update to happen on the ledger, everything. And by the way, we don't do that because of the burn necessarily. We actually do that because if you don't do everything on the ledger, and there are things that are off the ledger, you effectively give up about the whole value of blockchain. Let me explain. If I want to do like what I said, that life insurance or the annuity, to pledge it as collateral, if all I have is a representation, but really the books and records of the insurance or the annuity sits off ledger, well, the token doesn't really represent anything. No, I don't know what you're doing off ledger. I don't know because I don't have any visibility into it.
Right, it's like a digital IOU.
Yeah, exactly. IOUs. I use IOUs all the time. IOUs is IOU, and I don't care. That has no weight. I want to know that the asset is what I have in a lending protocol, right? The reason why DeFi works well when it's not hacked on crypto is because if you pledge your ETH, that is it. That is the asset. There is no off-chain ETH, right? That's it. That's the asset. You know that you have control over it. Again, assuming it wasn't hacked, drained, or whatnot.
Assuming that, it's an important part.
So we do want insurance companies, CSDs, private credit issuer. We want them to put the entire asset with its entirety on the ledger. We want them to do all life cycle events with respect to the assets on the ledger. We want them to do corporate actions on the ledger. We want everything. We want the ledger to be the books and records.
Moody's, Keiko Bloomberg, so on and so forth. Everything.
All of them. But now you enter a problem. If we're going to charge all of the subnetworks the same thing that we charge on the global sync, they go out of business before they even made money. I'll give you an example. A life insurance policy every single day has to do so many updates to the ledger just to maintain the contract.
Okay.
I need to update the NAV. I need to do all kinds of things. There's a lot of updates related to a life insurance policy. But we all know we pay the premium once a year. So now if every time just to maintain the asset, you're doing so many updates to the ledger and you're paying the same as you're paying on the global sync,
right,
it becomes uneconomical. And what you did is you effectively create a bad incentive structure where you're effectively saying to people, if that's my pricing model, you are incentivized to push a lot of things off the ledger.
That makes perfect sense.
So a lot of times people think like, what, just turn it on, just start charging people. And that doesn't work. So what we're doing is we're actually researching and thinking about multiple burn models that will look more like AWS, which is like no brainer. I will put as much as I can on a private sync. Now, would they burn the same as an app that ran natively on public sync? No, they need to run their own infrastructure and everything. It will be less, but you want them to do as much as possible. And then what you want is to think about the burn as the union of all private syncs and the global sync. The reality, though, it is not a trivial exercise. And what you don't want to do is you don't want to get it wrong, because you don't want to roll it out, do all the programming, and then realize that you got it wrong. And then people will say, well, we're turning off.
Right. You shot yourself in the foot.
You're not going to want them to turn off. You're going to say, well, we made a mistake. Now let's revisit it. Now you need to tell everybody, hey, pause. We just launched this, but actually we got it wrong. Let us get back to you. So again, the reality is this is not as trivial and it's not just as simple as I would want it to be clear. Like, do I want it to be simple? Yeah, I want life to be simple. But the reality is life is not simple. And it's a bit more nuanced and complicated, but I will tell you that there are people that work on this daily. And what we're doing is I think I've seen a proposal from the team. Now, what we need to do with these proposals is to go and look at every one of the examples that exist and say, well, what happens if they ran this? What does it look like? How does it look like compared to their economics? Does that break their bank? Does it not break their bank? Does it fit? But I will tell you that the intention is to bring that to the entire network. That's the intention. That's the goal. But it's just not as trivial. And we're going to also have to allow people to take time to implement it. It just doesn't happen overnight. Like that's the reality. As much as I would want it, I mean, we would be one of the biggest beneficiaries of this.
Exactly. I mean, like, to give it a baseball reference, I guess, we're at the top of the first inning when it comes to tokenization and what's coming on chain. And I mean, it feels like so early in the process, so much is still to come, and traditional players just don't move fast when we're talking about, I don't think people realize that the level of, go ahead, sir.
Yeah, so I think you're right that they don't move fast. I would actually say that there's something a bit more important. If you screw something up with big players, they are very unforgiving.
Right. And competence is definitely not rewarded.
Yeah. So I actually think that is the most important thing is we are extremely paranoid. And I will tell you, we don't get everything perfect, but we are extremely paranoid about making changes. And we just need to be very mindful and careful when we're doing it.